I believe that the Tigris River is the Missouri River. And I actually recently learned some interesting things about it. Hang on, let me pull up a map and I'll show you. Okay, so this map is from my Google Earth map that I'm working on building out. You can go look at it for yourself. The link is in my bio, and it's got all the biblical locations that we have found thus far. So this dark blue line here is the Missouri River. I just traced over it with that line. And it runs east and south. Over here it dips down south and joins the Mississippi and then runs into the Gulf of Mexico. Now this orange line here is where I believe, according to the research and some different geologists believe that the Missouri used to run, and you can see that it started in the same place and then went across east, and then instead of veering south, it veered north. Here's a more zoomed out view, so you can see the orange line up there is where I believe the Tigris used to run. And it ran up into either the Hudson Bay or the glacial lake that used to be up there where Lake Winnipeg is, the remains of it. And then the blue line over on the far side of the screen here is the Mississippi. This purple line is where the Mississippi used to run. It used to run out of this glacial lake. It was called Glacial River Warren. I'm not making this up. This is actual stuff, and you can still see the huge, massive river valley it carved here. And it came over here through the Twin Cities and then down to the Gulf. Now, if I understand correctly, the Missouri, or the Tigris, ran north up into the glacial lake or Hudson Bay. I'm not clear which one, but when this lake, this huge lake up here that the Mississippi ran out of, and the Mississippi was way bigger than it is today, but when that lake bust open and all the water ran out, which may also be what created the Great Lakes, by the way, all that water ran out, pushed the flow of the Missouri River downstream and reversed the flow of it. So it reversed the flow. It was still running east, and instead of going up north, it reversed the flow and pushed it down south to its current path, and it runs now down into the Gulf of Mexico instead of the Hudson Bay. And then also, it appears the Hudson Bay would be the equivalent of the Persian Gulf, unless this great inland lake that used to exist was called that. I'm not sure which it is, because the time periods, of course, aren't very clear, because they always layer millions and gazillions of years onto all of this, and we know that it actually wasn't that long ago. There is some evidence actually that this all happened in very recent history. Many old maps don't show the Great Lakes. So I think all this went down much more recently than we have been led to believe. And then what's super cool about this is when I realized that the Missouri, or the Tigris, used to run north, it made all of this line up so much more perfectly than it did before, because this the Bible tells us that the name of the third river is the Tigris, flowing east of Assyria, that it flows east of Assyria. And let me show you on the map again. We had already established that this general area was Assyria, which is basically most Alberta, the general region of Alberta. I don't know the exact precise borders in every area, but that's also where the Tower of Babel was built, right over here in Banff National Park. And so this was originally Babylonia, and then it was conquered by the Assyrians, so it became Assyria. So that means that orange line right here, which is the Tigris, ran perfectly east around the perimeter of Assyria. So that's where I'm at with that right now. I'm still researching this. So I'm hoping to get even more clarity around the rivers. But from what we can tell, the Tigris is the Missouri that used to flow north, and Euphrates is the Mississippi.